Good evening and a warm welcome to one of our regular webinar podcasts. I'd like to introduce myself. I am Sujit Menon, working as Director Operations for Green World. Our key speaker, who's also connected online, his name is Mr. Aloysius G. Pasion. He's the Market Food Safety Manager and the Quality Pillar Leader with Nestle Middle East. And by far, he's got about over 2 decades of experience. I'm sure that on today's webinar podcast, you would also be finding his viewpoint on what food safety and what HACCP is all about. I'd like to first introduce you all to who we are. Green World, we have been in the industry of just health and safety training where we started with for over a decade and a half. And we've just diversified ourselves into a lot more of activities besides training. We are into health and safety consultancy. We do industry-based audits. We do some specialized testing services. And obviously, the list that you see on your screen is very endless. We try and manifest ourselves into the industry and find, what's the challenge thrown at us and how we can move forward with it. Right. So some of you already joining us on the session this evening know us by our name. We are probably known to a majority of the audience as a training provider. And you would also note that we are one of the gold certified partners from NEBOSH. We're associated with various awarding bodies based out of the UK and the US, and with several other institutions who primarily focus on the health and safety working culture. So that brings us to where we started with. We have a whole portfolio of courses that we do, and we are associated with a couple of the certification bodies who assist us in helping corporates meet their objectives of ISO certification. Or let's say, for example, they have audit services, we get into that. So all these details will be shown up at the end of the webinar as well, where you can visit our company website to understand what we are into and what is it that we do. Well, the COVID situation now, which is prevalent world over, we have already given it a name. It's been called as a pandemic, and it certainly hasn't helped many of our working professionals. Some of us have been trying to get to this new norm of working from home. Although it sounds very comfortable, it's definitely a little bit of a challenge when you try and sit and work at home with its pros and cons. But that has also helped us in a positive way, where we use the power of technology, such as this. This is one of them, to try and have an outreach with our learners. And the whole idea is to see how we are able to connect to them, not just in terms of learning. We've used this technology to take ourselves to the next level, where we can try and do remote surveys. I mean, that's new norm. There are corporates who do. So one of them being the food safety as well. Now, many of our food safety courses are being delivered online. Obviously, there are certain aspects of food safety that would require you to, understand it only face to face. I mean, I, for example, I'm also a certified food safety trainer, where back in the day when I'm talking about pre-COVID times, I was fortunate to deliver training to, let's say, a university here in Dubai, which is the Dubai College of Technology. And we were part of a semester where we were visiting a lot of industries around in the Middle East, just so that we could understand how food safety is being applied across these industries. Now, when you talk about it globally, you have regulations that are different for every country. So our objective on today's webinar is for you all to understand what the importance of food safety is all about. Why is it that it is to be followed? Why is it that you do it's like you say, walk the talk. So when you have food safety, it's definitely a regulation that you need to implement. That's one of the it's food. It's something that you live on every day. So as much as we've taken it for granted, there's definitely a right way to understand why you need to put a safety aspect to it. Having said that, so we've done our training with almost 77 different nationalities, and I can proudly say that we are now omnipresent in across 195 countries, or just name it as the globe. All you need is just the internet to stay connected. That's why I mentioned or I used the term power of technology. Right, and on your screens, you would see our associations with the various awarding organizations that we have. And the first one being the NEBOSH Learning Partner, which is a gold certified standard. And you'll find that we have plenty more of organizations that we are accredited with. The second line that you see on your screens are the regulatory authorities we are associated with, particularly in Dubai, Saudi Arabia. We are definitely approved by the Dubai municipality. We work very closely with the KHDA since we are in the training industry. We're certified by the Civil Defense, and obviously with a lot of other training requirements. There's also TVTC. That's the first logo that you see on the bottom left of your screens. That's from Saudi Arabia. So obviously when we are there, it's supposed to be regulated, and that's the reason we stand where we are. Just another set of numbers that you see on your screens. This is just to give you facts on, where we have achieved our milestones. Now, our bread and butter of our course is the IGC qualification, which is why it says Committed IGC Student Registration. The IGC stands for the International General Certificate, and we have easily done a little above 41,000 registrations, and it's counting. So the figure that I'd like you all to be seeing is, right down dead center in the middle, which says 9.51 million man hours of training delivery that we have done till date. So that shows, just like in the health and safety industry, you talk about, many million man hours worked without an incident. For us, for Greenwell, we are proud to say that we are there, as part of the training. We've managed to deliver 9.5 million hours, and that was actually from a few weeks ago, and that's just being, it just keeps counting and getting better by the day, right? Good. So I wanted to tell you why is it that you are associated with Greenwell. That's what you have on your screens now. It's not just because we do, or we're good at what we do. We just want to make sure that we deliver our services in a more safe, strong, and a sustainable way that we do. We're obviously present all over the Middle East. We've got our offices here in Dubai, where we're hosting this webinar podcast from. We're present in Saudi Arabia, and we're also based out of India, where we have a lot of our offices among several branches there. Right. So let me not take further time. I would now like to hand over the reins of this webinar to Mr. Aloy, who would take over on the subject for the evening. We would come back in a short while towards the end of the session. We'll have our Q&A there. And once we're through with that, I'd like to say that all participants on the webinar today, please do make sure that you have your name shown correctly on your screens. Right. So as mentioned on our registration portal, those of you who have completed this webinar with us, you would be getting a webinar participation e-certificate that will be mailed out to your email addresses. We'll talk about that a little bit more towards the end of the webinar. Right. So please make sure that you have your names, and obviously once we close the event, you will be automatically directed to a feedback screen. Yes, so that's how it's designed. You would be requested to give us your feedback on what you liked about the webinar. What is it that you have liked about the session so far? It certainly speaks volumes. So all you need to do is, it would go to a screen where, if you're having a Google account, you just type in your Google details, you log in, and obviously it would actually flash up on your screen. So please don't feel offended that it's taking you straight to a feedback screen. It's just for you to get connected to and tell us what you think about the session. It always helps us, when we bring about our next set of webinar series. And I'll also be guiding you on where to look on to. We've conducted a couple of webinars earlier this year. This is our fourth webinar for the year, and you'd certainly be seeing even a recorded version. sometime later, and just post it across our channels, right? Thank you so much once again, Mr. Aloysius. I would love to hand over the reins to you for a moment. Let me briefly stop the share of my screen, and you can take it away from here. Thank you.
Thanks, Sunjit, and thank you for the opportunity. My name is Aloy, so I'm with the market quality team for Nestle Middle East and North Africa. So I will be conducting a short course on HACCP and the essentials of food safety. Um, just by the course itself, so we will be pertaining much of or bulk the bulk of the presentation will be focused on the HACCP methodology and how we implement it across not only Nestle but also taking into consideration the learnings that we have when we were doing conducting audits. So we're talking about suppliers, and also we're talking about contract manufacturers that we have in the past. We're also taking into consideration the learnings that we had when I was with the regulatory authority in Dubai, when we were doing also HACCP audit. So I try to merge all of these learnings of the best practices and try to put this in this presentation. So what we can share with you for this evening is that not only from the Nestle perspective, but from the other companies and regulatory entities as well. So I'll start with a slide with this particular diagram, which shows the food safety management system, what is the composition, and how is it related to your quality management system. At the heart of our food safety management system, we have our PRPs and our HACCP. Okay, so this is providing the foundation of your food safety management system, which is in part of your overall management system for quality. So with the foundation of food safety, this should be the foundation or the basis for us as a food manufacturer to release our product into the market, ensuring that our food safety program is solidly in place, making sure that the products that we manufacture for our consumers is safe. Yeah, I believe all of us is one in our direction that the products that we manufacture, regardless whether we are a Nestle entity or a non-Nestle entity, is safe for the consumer to consume. So how do we assess or how do we determine whether our food safety management system is effective? Okay, so in Nestle, we implement or we execute and track what we call a quality pyramid. So this is a basis in which we are able to measure how effective is our quality and food safety management system. So with a quality pyramid, so we take into account and measure any product recalls or withdrawals that we have in the market. So we take into consideration consumer complaints. So we have measures that track foreign body consumer complaints, and we have also measures that track non-foreign body related consumer complaints. Okay, so each and every consumer complaint is handled to a consumer complaint handling process in order to give feedback to the consumer on what is the root cause for that particular complaint, and to provide them some insights on what Nestle is doing to ensure that the product that is manufactured is safe and it is satisfying the needs of that particular consumer. We also monitor our exceptional releases, first time right, quality near misses, and our PRP deviations. So these are just some of the measures that we implement in order for us to assess how are we really performing in the implementation of our food safety management system. Are we delivering as what we have promised to the consumer? Is every aspect of our system really strongly in place with the foundations, making sure that we provide the products to the consumer as what we have promised them? Yeah. So the quality pyramid is an essential tool for us to really track where we are and where we want to go towards to make sure that we provide products to the consumers that is defect free. So in the heart of your quality management system is what we call our food safety management system. And in order to achieve that, I'm presenting one slide which is to show you where we need to go. So this is basically to build a food safety culture. So in achieving to build a food safety culture, yeah, we need to have a clear understanding of those requirements. What are those foundations? What are those aspects on food safety that is non-negotiable, that needs to be strongly in place and needs to be strictly implemented, monitored, and validated. So to achieve this, you need to really have a competency building plan, making sure that this understanding is not only with the quality team of that particular organization, but this understanding is provided and is cascaded down to the shop floor. Yeah, because it is only with the common understanding and with the common approach and ways of working that you will able to start building a food safety culture by fostering the understanding of everyone, that everybody's on the same page and everybody is committed towards a common goal of making sure that the products that we manufacture are safe. With building the understanding, we develop ownership. So by having the understanding, since you already know what is the impact of each OPRP or each critical control point or each control point that you have, you now foster for each and every person in the organization to have ownership, because each person has their own role to play in food safety management systems and in quality management systems. We in Nestle, we have a saying that we disseminate to every part of the organization, wherein you are a quality manager. So this message is what we try to build on, so that each and every aspect of the organization will be able to have ownership of their own processes and to make sure that quality is embedded, or especially food safety is embedded in everything that they do. By having ownership, this facilitates a mindset to make sure that that quality and food safety is a habit, and that in every particular activity that they engage on, whether it's a prerequisite program or it's a release system or it's a HACCP plan, that the overall mindset is really to make sure that food safety is non-negotiable and needs to be strongly in place to make sure that the products that we manufacture are safe. So what are the essential elements of food safety? Yeah, in my experience towards the years of practicing food safety management system in HACCP, I have come up with a couple of points which I feel are really essential to ensure food safety. First, brilliance at the PRP basics. So I will discuss this in detail, but these prerequisite programs, although some of them are basically simple, yeah, simple to implement, and they are very, very easy to understand. But it's just a pity that sometimes we come across some companies that take it for granted. PRPs is a basic foundation. If you don't have your prerequisite programs strongly in place, no matter how strong is your HACCP program, your food safety management system will fail. So PRP is a foundation. It is a pillar of your food safety management system. So if you don't have this strongly in place, or you are not brilliant in the implementation of your PRPs, your quality system and your food safety management system will crumble. So we start, and we need to be brilliant at the basics. That is one. The second one is you need to have your HACCP, but you need to have your HACCP at the shop floor. You cannot have a HACCP system that you have on paper only. It has to be fully implemented, fully understood, because in the end, it is the shop floor who does the monitoring of your control measures. And they are the ones who acts in case that there's a deviation, and your quality team provides the support to build their competency, to do a validation on their behalf, and to do verification. But the monitoring of these control measures is in the shop floor. They are with the machines and with the equipment 24/7. So they should have the foundation and they should have the competency in order to execute your HACCP plan and to act in case that you have a deviation for this particular control measure. This is very, very essential. Third one is you need to have a robust release system. Yeah. So when we say robust release system, it should be in a pragmatic way wherein your HACCP plan is the foundation of your release system. So there, I have come across some companies wherein they have release systems that is just taking into consideration the analysis of the product. Yeah. So which is really, really sad, and they come across a lot of issues on food safety once the product comes into the market. So you need to have your release system really having HACCP as a foundation. So for me, having these three elements will help you to have a very effective food safety management system in your company to make sure that the products that you manufacture is safe. So what is the ideal setup for an SMS? Yeah. So I have here devised three scenarios. Okay. So factory A is having 10 PRPs, 5 OPRPs, and 5 CCPs. Yeah. Factory B is having 20 PRPs, 0 OPRPs, and 0 critical control points. While factory C has 15 PRPs, 2 OPRPs, and 1 CCPs. So I just wanted to ask, maybe you can put it in the Q&A answer. Which do you feel is the factory that is having an ideal setup for food safety management systems? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Okay. So ideally, of the three factory setups that we have, this should be an ideal factory for food safety management system. So if you have a factory wherein all of the hazards is controlled by your prerequisite programs, wherein you find it already and not necessary to have OPRPs and CCPs in your line, then you have an ideal setup for your food safety management system. However, this particular setup at the current moment does not exist. So I have not come across a factory or a facility that does not have an OPRP or a CCP. So of the three, this should be in one of the best setups that you can have. Yeah, having 15 PRPs, 2 OPRPs, and 1 CCP compared to factory A. But of course, compared to factory B, if you are able to achieve this, then you have the most ideal setup for a food safety management system in a food manufacturing organization.
Thank you. Wish you a pleasant evening. Please stay safe and take care of yourselves and those around you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Stay safe. Bye.